Have you ever wanted to go to the Olympics and win a gold medal? Well, today I've got a true story for you about a group of boys who originally weren't very good at their sport, eventually were accepted to the Olympics in Germany, and won the gold medal. This is the true story of the boys in the boat. This is about 9 young men from the University of Washington who, during the Great Depression, which was a terrible time about 100 years ago when people became very, very poor, and how these 9 young men pulled together to win Olympic gold in the Olympics in Berlin, Germany. Now, what sport do you think these young men competed in within the Olympics? It wasn't skiing, ice skating, swimming, rock climbing, or running. These young men were part of a rowboat team. But rather than each person sitting in their own rowboat, they all sat together in a long, skinny boat together called a shell. Sitting in the shell, each team would hold a long row or oar, except for one person. This person's title was the cock's son, or we call him the cox, which is the small person who steers and yells instructions. One of those boys was Joe Rantz, a kid who'd been abandoned by parts of his family and had to work hard to survive. One day when he was young, his family left him and he was very poor and hardly had enough food to survive. But Joe didn't give up. He tried to find happiness, even when things were hard. Eventually, Joe Rantz started rowing on rowing team. The team's coach was Ulbrickson, and the team's boat builder was George Yeoman Pocock. And these 2 men taught the crew how to find their swing. Swing is when every person moves together. The same rhythm, the same power, the same breath. Imagine 9 people as one body. When you have swing, the boat glides forward. Without swing, you fight your own teammates on your own boat, and you don't move in a straight line. The boys trained on Lake Washington in rain, cold, and wind. Days and days of practice. They rose early, lifted heavy weights for exercise, and ran hard. They learned to trust each other, to let go of ego, because in a 9-person team, whoever tries to be louder than the crew slows everyone down. They had to trust one another. So remember, in your own family, or when you're on a team, trust your crew. The coxswain, Bobby Mock, steered and called tactics in races. The crew listened, adjusted, and kept the swing. Finally, one day, they made it to the Olympics in Berlin, Germany, across the ocean from the United States. The challenge was huge. In Germany, there were better funded teams, more pressure, and most people expected the Germans to win. The final race was very tense. The last sprint to the finish, the last few hundred meters, is where hard work and unity showed. Even when they weren't in the lead, they kept on going, committed and determined to keep their swing and their team unity. And finally, they won. They didn't win because they were the fastest from the start. They won because they trusted each other, matched every stroke with their teammates, and refused to quit. Their victory was more than a medal. It was proof that ordinary, hard-working people, pulled together with a shared goal and relentless effort, can beat the odds. So what lessons do we take? Find your swing. Learn timing and rhythm with your family and friends. Trust the person steering. Put team above your ego or pride, and work, really work, day after day. Now remember this as you face your own races, whether those races are games, schoolwork, chores, or a tough day. Teamwork, unity, and immense hard work really do win, just like the boys in the boat. Real men pull together with unity, trust each other toward one shared goal, and work with relentless effort. And when you pull together with your family, friends, and others in unity to achieving the best goals, and then you work relentlessly to achieve them, you will be a real man too.